Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Welcome to EnglishClass101.com's English in 3 minutes, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn English. Hi, how's it going? I'm Alicia. Nice to meet you. In this series, we're going to learn some easy ways to ask and answer common questions in English. It's really useful, and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn new, more common ways to ask and answer the question, "How are you?" in English. You've probably learned, "How are you?" and "I'm fine" in textbooks before, but in the United States, people will usually ask this question and answer it in a different way. First, let's review. If someone says, "How are you?" you can say, "I'm fine." I'm fine. Here are some other ways to answer. Pretty good. This means about the same thing as "I'm fine." Pretty good. We also have not bad. You can use this if you are feeling just okay or so-so. Not bad. Let's look at our question again. How are you? This is the most well-known way of asking how someone is. You could use it when you want to be polite. But now, let's look at some different ways to ask how someone is. These ways are more casual and much more common. First, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? You can answer this in many ways. If you're feeling good, you can say, good. Good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Not bad. Not bad. Once more, good. Pretty good. Not bad. Here's a tip. Even though these answers mean the same thing as "I'm fine," you can't answer "How's it going?" with "I'm fine." It will sound a bit strange. If you're not feeling good, you can say "Not so good." Not so good. Not great. Not great. Or not so well. Not so well. Be careful. If you say one of these, the other person will usually ask, "Why? What's wrong?" to be polite. Then you will have to explain. Another casual but very common version of "How are you?" is "What's up?" What's up? To reply, use a cheerful voice as you say, "Not much," "Not much," or "Nothing much," "Nothing much." This means you're free and able to chat. Since "What's up?" is just another way of saying hello, you can also reply with "Hey" or "Hi." Now it's time for Alicia's advice. A lot of the time, when we ask questions that mean, "How are you?" in English, we're not actually asking about the other person's health. We're only asking to be polite. You should think of these questions as another way of saying hello, a way for the conversation to get started, instead of actual, literal questions. In fact, when someone asks you, "What's up?" you don't even have to answer. Just say, "What's up?" in reply. Welcome to EnglishClass101.com's English in 3 minutes, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn English. Hey everyone, I'm Alicia. In this series, we're going to learn some easy ways to ask and answer common questions in English. It's really useful, and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to ask what someone's job is in natural English. Of course, you can just say, "What is your job?" This is correct English, but it sounds too direct and awkward. Native English speakers almost never say this in a social situation. Instead, they use a different question. But before we master that, we need to compare it to a very similar question. What are you doing? I'm presenting a video about English. What do you do? I'm an English teacher. Do you see the difference? These two questions, what are you doing and what do you do, sound similar but mean different things. The first one is asking what you are doing right now, this minute. You answer it using an ing verb. What are you doing? I'm reading. I'm watching TV. While the second is actually a shortened version of what do you do for a living? This is how we ask, what is your job in natural English? Let's practice this question. What do you do? What do you do? When native speakers of English ask this question, it can come out very fast and sound more like, what do you do? In order to tell it apart from, what are you doing? Just listen for the ing sound on the end of the question. If it's not there, then you're being asked what your job is. So how would you answer this question? Just think of it as if the other person is asking you, what is your job? You could answer with, I am, plus your job. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. Or, I'm an engineer. If you want to learn more job names, go to EnglishClass101.com and check out the core word lists. These cover job vocabulary and more, and include a picture and audio to help you perfect your pronunciation. You can also mention the place that you work at, starting with, I work at. I work at a hospital. I work at a hospital. I work at a law firm. I work at a law firm. If you work for a big company that is well known, you can say, I work for, and then the name. I work for Microsoft. I work for Microsoft. I work for the New York Times. I work for the New York Times. Now it's time for Alicia's advice. When you ask the question, what do you do? And the other person tells you their job, it's polite to make some kind of positive comment about his or her job. For example, how interesting, or that must be exciting, or even, oh, really? Remember to sound sincere. Welcome to EnglishClass101.com's English in 3 minutes, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn English. Hey everyone, Alicia here. In this series, we're going to learn some easy ways to ask and answer common questions in English. It's really useful and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to ask what someone's hobbies are without using the word hobbies. You've probably seen the question, do you have any hobbies? Or, what are your hobbies? In an English textbook before. However, native English speakers almost never use the word hobbies when asking about them. A much more natural way to ask the same question is, what do you do for fun? Let's practice this question. What do you do for fun? What do you do for fun? You can also ask, what do you do in your free time? What do you do in your free time? So how would you answer this question? Let's look at how native speakers would do it. The easiest way is to say, I like to, or just, I like, followed by what you like to do. For example, if you like watching movies, you could say, I like to watch movies, or I like watching movies. I like to watch movies, or I like watching movies. And if you like golf, you could say, I like to play golf, or I like playing golf. I like to play golf, or I like playing golf. You can emphasize how much you like your hobby by adding a word like really in front of like. For example, I really like watching movies. On the other hand, if you want to play down how much you like something, you can say kind of. For example, I kind of like playing tennis. Now it's time for Alicia's advice. If you don't have any special hobbies or don't want to be specific, a good way to reply is, I like hanging out with my friends and stuff like that. I like hanging out with my friends and stuff like that. Just use I like and add hanging out with my friends and then add and stuff like that. Welcome to EnglishClass101.com's English in 3 minutes, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn English. Hey everyone, I'm Alicia. This series explains some easy ways to ask and answer common questions in English. It's really useful and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn some different ways people will ask you, where are you from? First, though, where are you from? Can mean many things. It can mean, what city are you from? Or what state are you from? In fact, Americans ask this question to each other all the time to learn what part of America the other person comes from. Of course, though, it can also mean, what country are you from? If you want to answer this question, there are 2 ways to do it. You can say, I'm plus your nationality, as in, I'm Japanese, or I'm Brazilian. Or you can say, I'm from plus the country you are from, as in, I'm from Italy, or I'm from Thailand. If you're from a really famous city or place, you can say that too. For example, I'm from Beijing, or I'm from New Delhi. Many times, though, Americans won't ask, what country are you from? Or even, where are you from? In many casual situations, they will say it in a simpler way. Where are you from? This is just like, where are you from? But they take out the are. Where are you from? You can use this too in casual situations. Of course, in the United States, as in other parts of the world, people may be a little more indirect because they want to be polite. To do this, they might ask you if you are from the place where they meet you. For example, if you meet someone in New York, they might ask, are you from New York? Or if you are in San Diego, they might ask, are you from San Diego? Many parts of the United States are very multicultural, so asking the question this way avoids what could be an embarrassing mistake. You can answer this the same way you answer, where are you from? Just add a simple no in front. For example, you can say no plus I'm plus nationality. No, I'm French. Or no plus I'm from plus country. No, I'm from Russia. Now it's time for Alicia's advice. Since the United States is very large, people you meet may take great pride in the place or region they come from. If you ask someone about where they're from, they may respond by saying something like West Coast, or the East Coast, or California, or the South, or the Midwest. If they answer in this way, it usually means they are interested in talking more about their region and how it differs from others. Welcome to EnglishClass101.com's English in 3 minutes, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn English. Hey everyone, I'm Alicia. This series will teach you some easy ways to ask and answer common questions in English. It's really useful and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn some new ways to ask someone, what's your name? Including one that you can use when you have forgotten someone's name. Now, what is your name? was probably one of the first questions you learned when you started studying English. I have to tell you, though, that most native speakers of English would never say this. In English, just like in other languages, it is often more polite to be a little indirect. Of course, the easiest way to avoid asking the question directly is to not ask at all. Just introduce yourself, and most people will respond by doing the same. When introducing yourself, simple is nearly always best. Just say, "Hi, I'm Alicia." To show that you want to know the other person's name, just add, "And you?" at the end. "Hi, I'm Alicia. And you?" "Hi, I'm Alicia. And you?" Just like before, take out my name, Alicia, and put your name in its place. After you say this, the other person will tell you his or her name. Okay, now let's talk about an embarrassing situation that happens to everybody. You have already met this person once before, but you have forgotten their name. The most polite thing to do in this situation is to apologize and ask again. There's a simple way to do this that's also polite. "I'm sorry, what was your name again?" "I'm sorry, what was your name again?" This sentence is very similar to "What's your name?" but it has three important differences. First, we say, "I'm sorry." A small apology can go a long way. After that, we say, "What was your name?" This is just like, "What is your name?" But instead of is, we use the past tense was. This is really important as it tells the other person that you remember meeting them. You haven't forgotten him or her. You have just forgotten the name. This little word makes all the difference. "I'm sorry, what was your name?" Finally, we add again to the end. This is another hint that tells the other person that you remember learning his or her name before, but you just can't recall it right now. "I'm sorry, what was your name again?" This phrase is appropriate for both formal and informal situations. Now it's time for Alicia's advice. In the United States, it's normal to address people by name in conversation more than once. In both formal and informal situations, it's a way to show respect or interest in the other person and can help you make friends. It is also a great way to practice someone's name so you don't forget it. If you are talking to someone named Anne, for example, instead of just, "What do you do for fun?" you could say, "Anne, what do you do for fun?" You can also put the name at the end of the sentence. "What do you do for fun, Anne?" You don't want to say the person's name too often or it will sound a little strange. But if you practice someone's name like this, you won't forget it. And people love to hear their own name. Welcome to EnglishClass101.com's English in 3 minutes, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn English. Hey everyone, I'm Alicia. In this series, we're going to learn some easy ways to ask and answer common questions in English. It's really useful and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn some ways to get in touch with someone after you have met them once already. In a lot of textbooks, you've probably seen the question, "What's your phone number?" What's your phone number? It's a very useful question, but there are two problems with it. First, it can sound a little too direct, especially when talking to members of the opposite sex. And second, people use the phone a lot less these days than they used to. Instead, they might prefer to connect by email or on a social network like Facebook. To start, though, a simple variation on "What's your phone number?" that sounds a little less direct is, "Could I get your number?" Could I get your number? We start the sentence with could which softens the request. Next, say I, then get, and finally, your number, which is short for your phone number. This question is slightly casual, but it can be used in almost any situation. Recently, many people prefer to use email rather than the phone to communicate. Asking someone for his or her email address is also a little less direct than asking for their phone number. Could I get your email address? Could I get your email address? We just took could I get your number and replaced number with email address. It's that simple. Could I get your email address? If someone asks you either of these questions, you can reply by saying, sure, my phone number is, sure, my phone number is, or sure, my email address is, sure, my email address is, or sure, it's, and then say your phone number or email address at the end. By the way, if you're having any trouble with numbers, check out EnglishClass101.com's core word lists for these and other key vocabulary words. Each word comes with a picture, audio samples so you can perfect your pronunciation, and sample sentences and phrases so you can master its use in a sentence. Recently, many people use social networks like Facebook or LinkedIn or an online chatting service like Skype to communicate. People might ask you about these, especially if they are younger. If someone wants to connect with you through one of these services, they may simply ask, "Are you on?" followed by the name of the service. Are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Skype? Are you on Skype? To answer, you can simply say, "Yes, I am," or "No, I'm not." If you respond with, "Yes, I am," the other person may ask how they can connect with you on one of these services. Of course, if you're not on one of these services, they won't be able to contact you. If you still would like to stay in touch with the person, though, you can say, "No, but my email address is," or "No, but my phone number is," and then say your email address or phone number. By telling the other person a different way they can contact you, you'll show them that you want to hear from them. Now it's time for Alicia's advice. If you ask someone for their phone number, their email address, or some other form of contact information, they will usually give it to you if you have gotten to know them a little beforehand. If you ask too early in the conversation, though, they may be hesitant about sharing that information. The key is to make sure you talk for some time before requesting this kind of personal information. Welcome to EnglishClass101.com's English in 3 minutes, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn English. Hey everyone, I'm Alicia. In this series, we're going to learn some easy ways to ask and answer common questions in English. It's really useful, and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to ask and say where you live. Usually, someone will ask you where you live as a polite question after they've asked you your name, where you're from, and what you do for a living. They'll say, "So, where do you live?" This is inviting you to keep making conversation. There are lots of ways you could answer this question, but here are some of the most common. You could say, "Do you know?" and then the name of the area you live in. Do you know Twin Pines? Or you could mention a local landmark, like near the library, near the movie theater. You could also answer by telling the person what train line you live on if your city has a train network, or what station is the nearest to your house. On the Green Line, near Central Station. So as you can see, there are lots of possible ways to answer the question, "Where do you live?" Once you've told them, the other person might respond in one of the following ways. "Oh yeah, I know it. I live near there." Or maybe, "I'm afraid I don't know it." The other person is just being polite by showing interest, so you can reply by saying something like, "Oh, really?" Since the other person is asking you this question to be polite, a good way to continue the conversation is to ask them the same question in return. You can just say, "How about you?" Or, "Where do you live?" Put some stress on the you. Where do you live? Now it's time for Alicia's advice. Asking where someone lives is a way to try to find something you have in common with the person you're talking to. So if you're familiar with the area the other person lives in, make some comments about it. "That's a really nice area." Or, "The park there is really pretty." Anything is fine, as long as you don't say anything negative that could be taken as offensive, like, "That area has a high crime rate." Or, "I hear that area is really dangerous." Welcome to EnglishClass101.com's English in 3 minutes, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn English. Hey everyone, I'm Alicia. In this series, we're going to learn some easy ways to ask and answer common questions in English. It's really useful and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to ask someone where they went to school or college. Asking someone where they went to college is a good small talk question and conversation starter. However, you have to be careful not to offend people if they didn't go to college. We'll tell you how to do this. The question is simple. If the other person is over 22, it's likely they will have left college already, so you ask using the past tense. Where did you go to college? You could also say, where did you go to school? In American English, depending on context, school often means the same as college. If the other person is British or European, however, they're more likely to say, where did you go to university? The answer to this question is really easy. All you say is, I went to university in city. I went to Southern Oregon University in Ashland. If the name of the city or town is part of the university's name, like Tokyo University or Oxford University, you can add the name of the country instead. I went to Tokyo University in Japan. Once you've heard the other person's answer, it's polite to make some kind of comment. For example, wow, that's a really famous university. Or just, oh, really? Sometimes, when you ask, where did you go to college? The other person might reply, I didn't go to college. In this situation, you should be careful how you reply so as not to appear rude. It's polite to not act surprised, but instead make a positive comment like, oh, really? Or ask a question like, did you go straight into a job? Now it's time for Alicia's advice. A good follow-up question to keep the conversation going is to ask the other person, what did you study? Or what was your major? This gives them an opportunity to talk about something they're interested in. In the next lesson, you'll learn how to ask another basic question about the other person, which often features in first-time conversations between native speakers. That's, do you have any brothers or sisters? See you next time!